College of Medical and Dental Sciences, Thursday 14th of July 2022, 5:30 p.m. Congratulations to our University of Birmingham graduates. Here we are in the Great Hall at the heart of the Edgbaston campus. Attendees, mostly graduates and their friends and family, are seated. Here are the student musicians. Here are the student musicians. It's great to see them returning to ceremonies following the pandemic. Now we're getting started. Here's the first of our 2 mace bearers beginning the ceremony. The centenary mace bearer is usually a staff member who has volunteered to take part in the ceremony. The mace bearer enters through the back of the Great Hall and leads a procession of staff to the stage. Squire Bedell, who is the second of the 2 mace bearers, follows. The maces are placed on the stage for the duration of the ceremony.
I declare this congregation open. Good afternoon, and as Provost of this university, it's my very great pleasure to welcome you today to your graduation. And can we perhaps start by thanking our wonderful musicians, student musicians, for entertaining us so well. And as we start this celebration, please look around you. I cannot think of a more stunning venue in which to celebrate your achievements, a hall that first opened more than 100 years ago. In recent times, there has been row after row of desks set out for exams, enough to strike fear into every student heart, and indeed, the faculty behind me. On this stage, distinguished speakers have given lectures and speeches, and opposing sides have engaged in heartfelt and heated debates. We have welcomed international conferences and religious festivals, celebratory dinners, and even the odd wedding or two. This great hall has also had some less obvious uses over the years. During the First World War, it was converted into a military hospital, and you might have been a soldier returned from the front lines or a nurse treating the wounded. In the Second World War, it became a gym for the armed forces, and you could have been training hard on a pommel horse. In the 1960s, it was a pop-up cinema. In the 70s and 80s, it was used by the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, who recorded 50 albums here. And more recently, and of course very importantly, you might have had a swab stuck up your nose at our COVID testing facility. You are now part of the history of this great building, but much more importantly, you are part of the history of this great university, a global top 50 university. Think back to when you first arrived here. You will no doubt have experienced excitement, but probably also some nervousness that you might not fit in, or that you might not be able to tackle the challenges ahead. And as you progress through your degree, there will have been times where the decisions you needed to make seemed clear and obvious, but there will have been others when you weren't sure what to do next. There will have been concepts, problems, or ideas that inspired you, and others that frankly made your brain hurt. I'm sure you'll have attended lectures that filled you with knowledge and sparked your imagination, although, dare I say, there may have been the occasional lecture that perhaps felt it was a little too long. Outside of your academic efforts, you'll have made new friends, some of whom you'll remain friends with for many years to come. Treasure these special people. You will support each other during life's ups and downs, and no matter where you go in the world, a call or message from them will make you smile. I hope that as you look back on all of this, you will recognize what you have achieved. That you may have started out with self-doubt and uncertainty, but you've achieved anyway. That you can make friends when thrown into new situations, and that you can inspire and be inspired by others. I hope that your time at this university has given you many fantastic memories that will stay with you forever. And as you reflect today on your experiences here at Birmingham and on this graduation, you should rightly be proud of the personal qualities you have shown. But I'm sure you will all agree that you couldn't have done it by yourself. It takes a university to produce a graduate. During your time here, you will have been taught by some of the best lecturers in the world and been inspired by their enthusiasm and knowledge of their area. You will also have been supported in many ways by the tutors and student support team around you. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for our graduates to thank all those staff at the university, many are sitting behind me on the stage, for all the help that you've received during your time here. And as I look out directly in front of me, there are many people with very proud faces. Many will have a tear in their eye or a lump in their throats when you walk up onto this stage to graduate. There will be people watching online or elsewhere who will be thinking of you and who are extremely proud of everything you have achieved. You will all have that person or those people who believed in you, people who supported you and showed you kindness, and without whom you wouldn't be here today. So again, I'm going to ask the graduands at the back to stand up and thank all their families and friends at the front for all the help and support they've given. Please stand up and give them a round of applause. Thank you. You will soon come up onto this stage, and I will admit you to your degree. This is your moment. When your name is read out, it will be your graduation. And to the family and friends here at the front, it is your cue to make a lot, and I mean a lot, of noise. Lots of clapping, lots of cheering, lots of whooping. Let's get some noise in this auditorium, in this hall. And my final advice to our graduands, please be careful on the steps when you come up to the stage. Please remember to give a very big smile to the cameras. And most importantly, please don't forget to enjoy and savour this moment. My warmest congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Now for the handing of the scrolls. The graduates will walk from the left of the stage to the centre and collect their scroll from the conferring officer. After they're congratulated, they'll walk off stage.
I am Professor John Marriott, and I'm the head of the pharmacy school, and I'm acting as the presenting officer for this ceremony. And naturally, I wish you all a very warm welcome to this ceremony and to the university. Provost and Vice Principal, to you and to the university, I present the names of these graduands as listed in my programme, both in attendance and in absentia, proved worthy to be admitted to their respective degrees.
By virtue of my authority as Provost, I admit those persons listed in the programme to the degrees to which they will be presented.
College of Medical and Dental Sciences, Institute of Applied Health Research for Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the health effects of Ramadan, Munira Nasser Al-Mulem. For research into exacerbations of lung disease in alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency and the prognosis of this disease, Paul Robert Ellis. For research into exploring patient satisfaction with sexual health services, Muslim Abbas Syed. For research into mortality case note review as a tool for hospital care quality improvement, An Fung Tae. For research to improve the referral of COPD patients to pulmonary rehabilitation, Jane Watson. Master of Research, Teresa Melody. Master of Public Health, Global Health, Zakaria Zaru. Master of Public Health, Full-Time, Adaisi Teresa Aguroya. Asna Anand. Meena Varshini Karthikeyan. Jyotika Mitra. Richard Oluwa Damilola Omolade Ole. Luke Thomas Squires. Master of Public Health, part-time, Stephen Barry Barlow. Suzanne Elizabeth McFall. Christina Amaya Osborne. Katie Elizabeth Thompson-Dixon. Masters in Public Health with Statement of Extra Accredited Learning, Adewoke Olaronake Edeete. Master of Science, Health Economics and Health Policy, Zenle Nokatula Dalamiwini. Shreya Sindhu. Health Research Methods, Mary Helen Faith Brown. Priyanka Sharma. For Bachelor of Medical Science, Global Health, Thomas Brown. Saoirse Coyne. Lucy Florence Lily Davis. Gabriella Millard. Chloe Nicole Moran. Alice Marie Pennington. Jemima Elizabeth Hannay Platt. Health Management and Leadership, Chukwuemeka Emmanuel Abazi. Rosemary Burke. Simona Caroline de Souza. Niha Mariam Hussain. Ayan Haidari. Mayuri Zita Kahuha Kahumarun. Ruchika Madhotra. Naina Narorayan. Jessica Parker Edwards. History of Medicine, Sophie Gaynor Anderson. Alexander Bird. Maya De Silva Morgan. Camille Susanna Dubuixon. Ritu Gadner. Callum Henry. Marina Frances Lewis. Sophia Keksuan Zia. Public Health and Population Sciences, Anissa Ali. Abigail Katie Harrison. Sarah Elizabeth Hickson. Molly Claire Hughes. Rishma Sherin Jamil. Ashwin Kulyan. Camille Kansi. Megan Litmoden. Rahul Jacob Menon. Finlay Joseph Pierce. Divya Ruha Gurarman. Liam Snook. Uma Syed. Elisha Tate. The Institute of Cancer and Genomic Sciences, Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the computational modelling of biological systems at a micro scale, such as cancer cells or proteins via movement pattern analysis. Sam Robin Edward Benkwitz Bedford. For research into the use of circulating tumour cells in head and neck cancer, Carl Payne. For research into the protein interactions involved in the development of leukemia, Fatma Mohamed Badr Salman. For research into regulation of eukaryotic DNA replication, Zainab Tarkan. Doctor of Philosophy, the degree being awarded jointly by the University of Birmingham and Goethe Universität Frankfurt. Gela Michelle van der Stikkelen. Master of Research, Sarah Louise Green. Gayatri Prasad. Master of Science, Clinical Oncology, Karen Teresa Brewer. Rachel Patel. Genomic Medicine, Eleanor Louise Summers. Julie Ann Hart. Nicholas Tovey. Bachelor of Medical Science, Clinical Sciences, Mirna Ala Eldin Ahmed El Gobashi. Ellen Jenkins. Marwa Khan. Alexander George Morelli Batters. Lam. Clinical Sciences, Immunotherapy, Sana Amani Bashir. Anushri Joshi. Suniva Kanasaka. Rebecca Mary Rachel Mann. Ishan AJ Patel. Clinical Sciences, Cancer Sciences, Madeline Wood. Clinical Sciences, Cardiovascular Sciences, Chloe Beryl Knight. Christian Joba Mitchell. Clinical Sciences, Clinical Geroscience. Suleiman Musa Ayub. Suchin Chambers. Isabel Louisa Maria Millward. Clinical Sciences, Endocrinology and Metabolism. Maria Anna Scarilla. Clinical Sciences, Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. Aina Sadiqa. Gabriel Wong. Clinical Sciences, Reproduction and Women's Health. Alua Damilola Akande. Shruti Udade. Catherine Barry. Sireen Batson Patel. Gurkiran Bogle. Lucy Elizabeth Bidwell. Alexander Brown. Jia Sherian. India Naomi Lacey Dickinson. Tamlin Lara Knight. Dashini Sambamurti. Nicole Stoney. Institute of Cardiovascular Sciences, Doctor of Medicine, for research into identification of risk markers for heart failure and atrial fibrillation, Paul Brady. For research into the management of chronic limb-threatening ischemia due to infrapopliteal peripheral arterial disease, Matthew Adam Popplewell.
Provost, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, graduates, graduands and guests. How do we make Birmingham a healthier place to live, work and study? That's the question that Dr. Justin Varney wakes up to every morning as Birmingham City Council's Director of Public Health. This might be about responding to outbreaks of communicable diseases. It might be about the impact of poverty and poor housing on people's well-being. Or it might be about supporting people to make healthier choices around diet, smoking and other behaviours. In explaining what a public health team does, Justin describes it in gardening terms. It involves getting the compost right, making the soil fertile, rather than focusing in on each individual plant as a medic might do. A career as a medic looked likely for Justin when he left school, although acting was also on the cards. He had an offer from drama school, but the place at Barts and the Royal London to do medicine felt like the more sensible career choice. Whilst he left acting behind as a career, his work in steering Birmingham through the COVID-19 pandemic, spending hours each day on media platforms such as Instagram and TikTok, perhaps brought those acting skills to the fore again, connecting with multiple audiences across the city. From medical school, Justin began training in general practice, but then public health caught his attention, and he applied for a public health training role in London. Part of that included pandemic planning, an exercise he describes as a couple of lectures and a few tabletop exercises, poor preparation for when it happened for real in 2020. Working first in children's public health, he later moved to a national role with a focus on adults and older people, a role which included stints as thinker in residence at the University of New South Wales, strategy lead for business in the community, and a technical advisor to the World Health Organization on physical activity. Justin became Director of Public Health for Birmingham in 2019. From his perspective, an exciting privilege to tackle inequalities at scale in one of the world's most diverse and interesting cities. He is responsible for protecting and improving the health of Birmingham citizens and is also the corporate champion for LGBT inclusion. When COVID hit in March 2020, Justin was suddenly leading the response for a city of 1.2 million people, the youngest and most diverse city in the UK. Looking out from his city centre balcony at Easter 2020, the peak for COVID deaths in Birmingham, he recognised that his job was not to stop the iceberg hitting, to use a Titanic metaphor, it was to provide captaincy through the emergency, to use every communication channel open to him and his team to give people the best chance of survival. At the end of March 2020, the city ran out of hand sanitizer. Justin describes getting on the phone to the university. "Have you got any hydrogen peroxide?" he asked. He'd found a WHO field recipe for hand sanitizer online. The university and the city pooled resources to get hand sanitizer into production. Justin bought up every plastic bottle that Muji had to put the hand sanitizer in. It went to social workers and schools and other crucial city services that weren't on the priority list for NHS supplies. "We weathered this pandemic as a city," he says. "We leveraged the academic expertise of this university and the other city universities. We leveraged the medical students to get them out onto wards. We leveraged community leaders and volunteers to spread truth and balance the fake news." Justin spoke to UOB senior leaders every week, with particular recognition of the needs of this university's large international student population. Justin's support and guidance were critical to the university's ability to provide social interactive space on campus from early 2021, as well as on-campus graduation celebrations last summer, and to be one of the first universities to have on-campus testing and vaccination facilities. Justin holds an honorary chair at the university's Institute for Applied Health Research. He's facilitated student placements from the university into the public health team to have exposure to issues facing the city, such as food poverty. He's also a student here, partway through his executive MBA. With one module and a dissertation to go, he explains he's been a bit busy recently to give attention to his studies, but hopes to get back to it very soon. Provost, to you and to the university, I present Justin Varney, deemed worthy of admission to the degree of Doctor of Medicine honoris causa.
By virtue of my authority as Provost, I have great pleasure in admitting you to your degree, Doctor of Medicine honoris causa. Congratulations.
Provost, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, graduates, graduands and guests, thank you for this honour. In accepting this honorary degree, I do so not just for myself, but on behalf of the public health specialist team that I lead at Birmingham City Council, but also on behalf of the wider network of partners and people who have stood together during the pandemic in Birmingham. It has been perhaps the biggest challenge of my career to date, and I'm slightly hopeful that it is the biggest challenge of my career until I retire. We have worked together as a city to survive this pandemic. The cards were truly stacked against Birmingham. We have high levels of inequality, chronic disease. We are a truly global city. Many of our citizens work in health and social care and education, and they didn't have the luxury to spend the pandemic on Zoom and Teams meetings from their sitting rooms. At the start of the pandemic, I was told in a phone call to expect over 9,000 deaths in the first wave in Birmingham. In 2019, the total number of deaths in the city was just over 8,000. To date, we have sadly lost 3,600 people to COVID. Each one of these losses is someone's father, mother, friend, and colleague, and they are a sad loss to the city. But I take that as a win. The prediction was dire, and as a city we came together, and we have successfully avoided the horrendous death toll that this pandemic could have been. As students and as teachers and as the university, you have stepped up to the challenge with me over the last 2 years. Many of you mobilised onto the wards, in the laboratories, volunteering with communities, working with us through the early days of the pandemic to create hand sanitizer, to look at innovative solutions, to help us understand how to communicate better with citizens on messages around face masks and what you could and couldn't do as the guidelines perpetually changed as we understood this new disease better. The last 2 years has been really, really hard on all of us. And I have certainly had moments where I have been overwhelmed, where I've questioned my own leadership, and when I have felt very alone. And I have relied through much of this on my medical training. It came to the fore over the last 2 years, bringing out the skills I had learned around breaking bad news and giving medical information to patients and families in ways they could understand, interpret, and respond to, translated into the way that I worked with Birmingham communities. The mental white coat replaced the white coat that I used to wear on the wards, but it kept me focused on projecting that professional reassurance to my team and to the city, to give them a sense that I was calm and I knew what I was doing, even if behind the face and the smile my mind was whirring and my heart was beating fast. The approach I learnt through my medical career to work with a team who I'd only just met, whether it was rushing down a ward into a crash call or on the first day in outpatients clinic with a new team where I had no idea how to turn the computer on, let alone find the form for an X-ray. These were skills that came to the fore as I built new partnerships and worked across the city during the pandemic. And like many of you, family and friends have been a key part of this. I'm very grateful to my family and to my husband, who is also a local GP and has worked through the pandemic in the East End of Birmingham. Not just now, but throughout my career. They have helped keep me anchored and helped keep me focused when times have been difficult. And they have celebrated with me when they have been good. One of the things the last 2 years has taught us is to hold dear friendship and family. Whether born or chosen, these connections outside of work are important. So please nurture them as you go forward in your careers. At the heart of our experience of the pandemic, outside of our family and friends, has been the concept of team. And you in this university have been part of Team Birmingham. For better or for worse, these difficult days are ones that you will often end up valuing most in your career, because they show you the real value of being part of something. of working together in times of adversity, of understanding just what we can achieve together. And I hope you will wear the memory with pride, because pride in Birmingham is something the city needs. For too long we have been England's second city, behaving like a handmaiden while others get a little bit loud and a little bit brassy. But now is our time to be bold and come through this pandemic, succeeding and celebrating our partnership together. In a few weeks, it can't have passed your attention that we will host the Commonwealth Games, and we will be the first host city ever to have communities from every Commonwealth country live in Birmingham, and that is a fantastic reflection of the diversity of the city. And it's a diversity which I see reflected in front of me in the graduates who have been awarded today. As was mentioned, much as I delight in receiving this honorary degree, I hope surely also to complete my MBA, perhaps a slightly foolhardy commitment to make a few months before the pandemic started. But as a student, I can really say that the university has worked hard to be a university that welcomes all and really celebrates its role in the city. As you go forward in your careers, the values of openness, inclusion, and being honest about the things that go wrong and what we can do to fix them are values this university models and are values that you can carry forward with you to the future. We have the privilege of being professionals that people turn to when most in need. Whether that's in acute illness on the wards, or for people living with diseases, where those of you in the laboratories will give us hope that that disease is not a death sentence, and give us hope that we can live with long-term conditions a full and happy life. It is our honour to take this privilege, and it's an honour that we should not take lightly. So as you come to the end of your degrees today, try not to dwell on the things that didn't go quite so well. There will have been bits of your courses which didn't resonate, that you struggled to get into. But there will also have been bits that make you excited and engaged and give you that little thrum in your heart of this is something that makes me joyful and excited about. And as you go through your career, those moments of resonance from your experiences at university will come back to you again and again. And as you step into the world as professionals, be open, be curious, and be compassionate. Our local MP, Jess Phillips, said, "I'm not always sure I feel English or British, but I always feel like a Brummie." And I hope your years in the University of Birmingham mean that wherever you go in the future, you will always feel part of the family of our city, and Birmingham will always feel like somewhere you can call home and find anchor for your soul. I wish you well as you start this journey. And I want to finish with the words of Maya Angelou, a woman who's inspired me in moments of darkness and given me laughter and learning through her creativity and wisdom. She said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humour and some style." So as you step out into the world as University of Birmingham graduates, into this bold and brilliant city, do so with passion, compassion and a bit of Brummie style. Thank you.
Provost and Vice Principal, to you and to the University, I present the names of these graduands as listed in my programme, both in attendance and in absentia, proved worthy to be admitted to their respective degrees. Doctor of Medicine, for research into the role of coronary microvascular function in the development of heart disease in renal failure, Ashwin Radhakrishnan. Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the effects of myocardial infarction on the aged community microcirculation, Juma Ella Waisi. For research into examining the role of galectin-9 in leukocyte trafficking in the context of vascular inflammation and atherosclerosis, Franziska Krauter. For research into beneficial effects of hand grip training in reducing cardiovascular disease, Kyrios Sitouglu. For research into the biological function of pro-cadherin-1 and its role in blood vessel formation, Verta Vecchiato. Institute of Clinical Sciences, Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the roles and experiences of nurses in meeting the psychological needs of patients receiving palliative care, Adeniki Rebecca Odioya. For research into healthy nursing work environment and nurses' intention to stay, Asma Salim Mohammed Al-Yahya. For research into patient-facing roles of clinical pharmacists in general practice, Abdullah Ali Al-Sheri. For research into evaluating factors that are important for diabetic patients to use complementary and alternative medicines, Abdulaziz Saud Al-Zadrani. For research into practical wisdom as applied to medicine, Sabina Yasmin Jamil. Master of Research, Rachel Wendy Bates. Master of Education, Education for Health Professionals, Heather Lorraine McNeely. Master of Pharmacy, Pharmacy, Amjal Ahmed. Amna Iman Mahmed. Sabah Akhtar. Iman Ali. Mary Rose Anafi Aqua. Isabella Rose Barlow. Manisha Angel Barek. Tisha Brown. Angel Chu. Samira Ahmed Chowdhury. Faiza Chowdhury. Rachel Adebola Daramola. Alaya El Trafi. Holly Eversfield. Adam Richard James Foster. Aisha Hamid. Makran Nehal Singh Hair. Ethan Alexander Hutchins. Shirley E.B. Biglum. Anisha Jalotta. Lauren Jones. Mariama Kamara. Harjot Kaur. Sufyan Khan. Amjad Ali Khan. Erika Makilavika. Adiba Mahmood. Sharon Preet Kaur Mully. Katie Tallulah Mallinson. Kuran Mathuru. Tanya Maware. Joseph Patrick McBride. Gulsum Maidan. Lucy Moss. Zainab Noor. Chantal Bellavia Naughty. Adam Olaf. Oliver Lewis Page. Damini Patel. Kayan Sunny Patel. Lovelace Planche. Fazila Kium. Levi Richards-Jones. Hamisha Salim. Safia Sheikh. Amy Simpson. Halima Sultana. Mansi Thanki. Chloe Uppal. Catherine Ann Wide. Naima Zaid. Master of Science, Advanced Clinical Practice, Frida Chowdhury. Betty Essel. Advanced Critical Care Practitioner, Mark Allen Horner. Occupational Health, Fiona Elizabeth Keel. Courtney Charles Stanley Roberts. Physician Associate Studies, Vithnia Raja. Bachelor of Nursing, Nursing, Ikra Aftab. Thamina Chowdhury. Nonlanla Tatiana Dix. Lucy Claire Hayes. Raisa Hussain. Rie Robinson. Nisha Thomas. Bachelor of Science, Medical Studies, Ursula Botha. Amy Morris. Institute of Immunology and Immunotherapy, Doctor of Philosophy, for research into how co-stimulatory modules may be relevant to the pathophysiology of autoimmune liver disease and how that may relate to potential new therapies. Konstantinos Aliazis. For research into the immune deficiency and immunotherapy in BCALL patients, Mustafa Mehmed Hussain Farhat. For research into the development of regulatory T cells, Sarah Inglesfield. For research into immune cells activation to alter cancer progression, Victoria Stavrou. For research into the role of immune cells in cancer, Muath Suleiman. For research into regulation of unconventional T-cell immunity in preclinical models, Amina Zeglam. Master of Science, Rosemary Fawkes. Eleanor Ward. Master of Science, Immunology and Immunotherapy, Sana Mahmood. Institute of Inflammation and Aging, Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the expression and functional role of the long non-coding RNA MALAT1 in osteoarthritis pathology, Fawzia Al-Najjar. For research on immunofibroblasts and their role in the pathogenesis of Sjogren's syndrome, Saba Azam. For research into the underlying basis of inflammation resolution in arthritis at the tissue level, Hayley Louise Carr. For research into immune cell function in health and chronic lung disease, Helena Ann Crisford. For research into the impact of e-cigarettes on innate immune cells, Alice Emily Jasper. For research into developing and validating new treatments for bone diseases, Jonathan Lewis. For research into the control of bone formation by blood vessel endothelial cells, Georgiana Neig. Master of Science, Trauma Science, Jing'er Chan. Institute of Metabolism and Systems Research, Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the steroid metabolome in inherited adrenal diseases, Elizabeth Sarah Beranowski. For research into the biochemical and clinical phenotype in women with polycystic ovary syndrome, Puneeth Kempegowda. For research into the outcomes of bariatric surgery in the UK, Pushpa Singh. For research into the prevalence of vitamin D deficiency and rickets in UK children, Suma Uday. Master of Science, Cameron Lay. Institute of Microbiology and Infection, Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the molecular mechanisms of antibiotic resistance in Salmonella, Ilyas Alav. For research into the essential genome of Klebsiella pneumoniae, Jessica Gray. For research into novel vaccine and drug targets in tuberculosis, Thanai Papakonstantinou. For research into mechanisms of antibiotic resistance in E. coli, Hannah Louise Pugh. Institute of Clinical Sciences, Master of Science, Clinical Neuropsychiatry, Kazim Adesina Olasupo. I will now lead the graduates in the Declaration for the University of Birmingham Healthcare Professions. May I please ask the graduates to stand and recite for me, with me as follows. In accepting my degree today, I recognise that I embark upon a career involving care of patients, families and loved ones. I promise to reflect on and uphold, in all I do, my duties as a healthcare professional, and to put the care of patients at the heart of all my actions. I shall treat all patients with compassion and respect. I shall listen and explain so they may reach decisions on their care and on their treatment. I shall never compromise the safety or the dignity or comfort of my patients. Nor shall I discriminate against them or my colleagues. I shall justify the trust placed in me by patients and by individuals, and by society by working with integrity. I shall keep my knowledge up to date. When I make mistakes, I shall acknowledge them with candour to my patients and report them. I shall learn from error. I understand that I alone must take responsibility for all I do, and be prepared to justify my acts and my decisions. I declare that I will justify the privilege that the award of my degree bestows on me. Please be seated. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the student representative, Abigail Harrison, from Public Health and Population Sciences, to deliver a speech on behalf of the graduating cohort.
Thank you very much. Before I go on to introduce myself, I would like to offer my heartfelt congratulations to all those who have graduated today. You have achieved something incredible, and for that you should be really proud. So, my name's Abby, and today marks not only my first graduation, but also the end of my 5th year here in Birmingham. Today I'm a graduate of Public Health, but tomorrow I will again be returning to my final stretch of medicine placements, and hopefully this time next year I will be walking across this stage as a doctor. I feel extremely honoured to be asked, out of all the amazing graduates here today, to give a speech that hopefully resonates with each of their experiences. Saying that, I found it really difficult to know what to share, as I realised that everyone's memories will be so unique to them. Hopefully you'll all be able to relate to the stories I tell, adding your own pictures to my words. When I think of my time here so far, I remember less the last-minute library stresses and more the support I so gratefully received from my course mates in the same boat, as well as the relief, happiness and celebration once those deadlines had passed. I don't remember the long hours I spent sitting in lectures, but the privilege of engaging with such inspirational academics. I think of all the friends I have made and how fortunate I am to have them. I value the societies I have been and am a part of, for all the sport that they allowed me to play and the people they allowed me to meet. And finally, I remember the uni clichés that of course came to fruition and that I enjoyed wholeheartedly, the independence and all those nights out. I will miss all of these things when my time comes to leave this peaceful campus. To have these meaningful moments, we have all faced our own challenges, both academic and personal. My dissertation was dedicated to a childhood friend who is sadly no longer with us. I think he exemplifies some of the pressures we face as young people at a time where we've made a number of big decisions but still have so many to go, each with their respective rewards but also their hurdles. In overcoming the difficulties you've encountered to be here today, you have shown resilience and determination, things that will shine through as you progress to whatever becomes next for you. Today is a day for you to celebrate your achievements. I think it's very easy for us to brush off praise, but today it is important you embrace the congratulations and the compliments you deserve, and feel the love of those so special to you to have been invited to share in the celebrations. I'd like to end on a personal note, thanking all of those who have supported me this year. Whilst I reel off a list of those who have made such a difference to me, I hope that you will think of all those that you are grateful for, who have shaped your time here and supported you in all that you do. Thank you to my friends and housemates whose shoulders I've leaned on countless times, my family who I am lucky to have here with me today, my supervisors Laura and Claire for their weekly therapy sessions and of course their expert guidance, and all the other leads and lecturers who have helped and inspired me along the way. Congratulations again to those graduating today. I hope you enjoy your evenings celebrating the end of this chapter.
Well, thank you very much, Abby, for a wonderful, heartfelt speech. It's difficult to have to follow that. But it's my pleasure to close this ceremony. My name is David Adams. I'm Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Head of the College of Medical and Dental Sciences. And it's a real great privilege to be able to be part of your graduation ceremony this evening. And it's a particular privilege to be part of Justin Varney's graduation as well. Justin, as you've heard, did so much to take this city through the pandemic, working very closely, and much of that time, with the university. And we look forward to working with you in the future, Justin, to try and address some of the terrible health inequalities which blight our wonderful city. From the very beginnings of this university in 1900, as England's first civic university, we have welcomed people of all faiths and backgrounds and have been home to some truly inspirational people. If you walk down the corridors either side of the Great Hall today, you will see museum objects, prototypes, manuscripts and photographs that tell the stories of a groundbreaking research undertaken by your university. This includes the work of Sir Peter Medawar, who won a Nobel Prize for his work on organ transplantation and immune tolerance, and also the work of Dame Hilda Lloyd, the first woman to become president of the Royal College of Obstetricians, and a woman who was passionate about addressing the urban poor across the city of Birmingham. She set up flying squads to go out to mothers during pregnancy and childbirth and save countless lives during her time here in the 1930s and up to the Second World War. A truly inspirational figure. But these are just a few examples of how we change lives through our research. We also have an impact on the world around us in other ways. In your way out to the Great Hall, you turn right and walk down to the Bramall, and you'll see posters and photos telling the story of the university's role in local and international music and culture. Everything from Sister Bliss and The Cure through to Joy Division's last ever concert. And across the world, thousands of our alumni are working in every conceivable industry. We are proud to be hosting the Commonwealth Games, hockey and squash on the campus here in a couple of weeks' time, where Birmingham students and alumni will be representing their countries in 9 sports, including swimming, judo and athletics. It's of particular note that a third of the English women's hockey team studied here at the University of Birmingham. I'm genuinely proud to be standing here on behalf of a university where inspirational people do inspirational things, where every day we have the ability to change lives for the better, and today I am inspired by what you have all achieved. As you embark on the next chapter of your lives, you may know exactly what you want to do, or you may be still considering a range of options. Your future is in your hands, and each of you will find your different path in the world. As you do this, I hope you will take a piece of Birmingham with you. Your experiences here will have given you a fantastic academic grounding. You will have honed a whole range of skills, maybe even without noticing. You leave here being able to analyse and critique information. You are likely to be well practiced at discussing and debating issues with respect, and you will understand the importance of having an open mind to the views of others. Together, these skills will enable you to make a difference to this world. We have many global challenges, and we need to tackle these, and it's people like you who are going to give the solutions to these problems, big and small, in the future. In a few minutes' time, you will walk out as graduates of the University of Birmingham and celebrate in the Green Heart with your fellow students, family and friends. This marks the end of one chapter of your life, and after today, some of you will be leaving Birmingham and maybe even leaving the UK. Despite this, you remain part of our alumni family, and we will still be here for you. Our careers service remains open to you, and our fantastic alumni relations team run events for recent graduates and connect you with alumni across the world. Please keep in touch and let us know what you are doing. We're always interested to hear what our graduates are up to. After you've finished celebrating today, you may have time for a quiet moment of reflection. If this is the case, I hope you'll think fondly about your time here, about the people who have supported you, and about your success in achieving your degree. You enter the Great Hall today as graduates, but you will leave as graduates of the University of Birmingham. You can look back with genuine pride in what you have achieved. Class of 2022, well done, and all the best for the future.
And I declare this congregation closed.
Congratulations to our new graduates. The attendees applaud our new graduating class. To close the ceremony, the maces are collected from the stage. The mace bearers lead the procession of staff and new graduates out of the Great Hall. The ceremony that completes the university journey for hundreds of Birmingham alumni is now closed. The live stream has now ended.